Welcome back into Canes Power Play. Game 4 review. Finishing up this round 1 series versus the Ottawa Senators, Carolina Hurricanes. Sweep them in 4 games. So going through that last game, 4th game, it was a battle and probably one of the toughest games, if not the toughest game that Carolina's had to play this season as far as being physical, battling through adversity with Nikishin going out, Overall, I think the physicality levels were pretty rampant in that game. I don't think we've ever seen something like that. For Carolina, in recent memory, we haven't seen a situation where a guy gets drilled like that and there's so much fight back. That hit kind of reminds me of Slavin when he got hit against Sam Bennett a couple years ago in the playoffs. But all in all, Carolina gets it done. They end up winning and 4-2 and for Ottawa, they're going to be golfing, and they'll be out. So, you look at Carolina and how they matched up in this series. We knew coming in it was going to be a tough series. If you told me we would have swept them, I would have called you crazy because I don't think you sweep a team like Ottawa often because of how good they are analytically. You look at their face-off numbers. They're physical. They're big. They're really good defensively. I mean, they match up well against the Hurricanes. They play a very similar way, and I know you can say if a couple bounces went their way, then, it could go to 6 or 7. I definitely think that their star players didn't show up, obviously. I mean, Tim Stutzel had 1 point. Tkachuk was, invisible unless he was throwing hits. Batherson was their best player for sure. Sanderson was good, unfortunate, that he had to miss game 4. But going into some stats, I think special team was a pretty big issue, Gabe. I know that you saw it. You were watching. I think it was like 11 or 10 power plays that Ottawa got yesterday. Let me double check this because it seemed like, they had 9 power plays. They were 1 for 9 on the power play. It's a big reason on why you lose the game, and you can go on for the whole thing. They only scored 1 power play goal in so many chances. They ended round 1 with a 4.8% power play percentage,
which is awful. That is absolutely disgusting.
And it loses you games. And Tkachuk talked about it in the media after the game. He said, that, the power play lost us the game. Yeah, no, it definitely did, and Carolina's wasn't good by any, point in the imagination. Obviously, we had less attempts, but it wasn't that good. Stankoven got the power play goal yesterday. Between the legs kind of goal, kind of not really between the legs, but he kind of had to release it from that angle. And, we were watching it with the Ottawa power play yesterday. They couldn't make passes, and they made so many passes out of the zone. You said it looked like the Bruins power play.
I mean, it does. The Bruins. That's what the Bruins do on power play. That's why I thought of it because that's what they do. They can't get into the zone. No, I don't mean to talk about the Bruins, but that literally looked like the Bruins power play.
Yeah, and it wasn't great. And you pair that up with, Carolina's penalty kill. It's always going to be so good. No matter what. I think it was like 10th or something in the regular season, which for us is not that great. We usually finish top 3, top 5. But moving on, again, special teams is going to be big for next series, whether that's Pittsburgh or Philly. Probably going to be Philly, but we'll see. Offensive zone percentage. Carolina was 45.8%. Ottawa was 36.7%. So, Carolina was favored in the offensive zone. That's kind of how they play. They're a puck possession type of team. I did think in every single game there was multiple times that they had shifts where they were just hemming in Ottawa for 45 to a minute, and I thought that worked really well. Shots per game, 33.8 for Carolina, 27.5 for Ottawa. Ottawa did a really good job at shooting, which, Gabe, you can come in and chime on this as well because you've seen multiple Hurricanes games where, the other opposing team gets under 18 shots, just because they struggle so hard to not only get the puck back from Carolina because they're such a puck possession team, but they have a hard time getting shots through, not necessarily getting blocked, but Carolina does a good job at limiting shots to the outside.
No, certainly, yeah. I mean, Ottawa didn't really have many chances. Like going into the fourth period, the third period, I don't know. In Game 3, the Senators had like no shots coming into the third, and then they all of a sudden get up to 20 shots in the last like 3 minutes because of the empty net. But I don't know how it was for Game 4. I didn't watch Game 4, but I'm sure it was similar where they didn't get many shots because, and especially the way they were playing yesterday, yesterday too, was they were just angry, so they just started laying out the hits and stuff. So they weren't playing their real hockey.
Yeah, tons of hits. Obviously the power plays are going to help with all those shots. The 5-on-3s they got, but also that double overtime game also influences that. So, I know 27.5. That's a good bit, but I do think those numbers are going to be a little bit inflated due to penalties and double overtime. High danger shots on goal. This is something that Carolina did a really good job at, specifically that second line for Carolina, which I'll dig into that in a second. But they had 36 high danger shots on goal. Ottawa had 29. So it's 7-shot difference. It's nothing too crazy, but when you look at those high danger shots, most of them come from the second line of Logan Stankoven, Taylor Hall, and Jackson Blake. Stankoven might have 10 of those by himself. I actually think he has like 8.
And how many of those high danger shots did the Canes make?
Yeah.
And same thing with the Senators, because there's plenty I can think of for the Senators where they had some amazing shots, but
those high danger chances, and they just didn't put them in the back of the net.
Exactly, and I mean, in part to Anderson, but that's another topic.
I'm thinking about it right now. He scored 4 goals. Every Logan Stankoven goal, you could say, came from high danger, maybe except for the one-timer that he had in Game 3. I'm thinking because last night you can call that one high danger. The first one for sure, high slot, inner slot. The second one, even that second one for sure, because that's where he was like a couple feet outside, or I'd say about a foot outside the crease. So I definitely would say that. I'm trying to see here if we can see how many Carolina capitalized on. But we do we'll look at these shots on goal for Carolina because this is important. High danger shots on goal. Stankoven 7 shots, Taylor Hall 6. And those are the guys in the top 10. Stankoven and Taylor Hall. So that's second line.
And Giroux for Ottawa had 5.
Yeah. So it's pretty good, man. You're going to take that all day long. Goals, high danger situations. Batherson for 2, and they do not list any of those Stankoven goals as high danger, which is a little bit questionable to me. They give him 2 mid-range, which I can see 2 of them being mid-range, and I'm not sure what they're calling the other ones. If they're calling them, I don't know. But all in all, look, like, high danger chances was a premium. You look at how that second line got in front, did a really good job getting shots on goal. And Carolina did okay at suppressing that. You'd like to see it done a little bit more. I do think Batherson and Giroux, like you said, Tkachuk, I think those guys had a little bit of success getting in there. No, they didn't score, but besides Batherson, Tkachuk and Giroux and Stützle, they did a really good job trying to get inside. Next up for face-off percentages, Carolina 41.5%, Ottawa 58.5%. And Carolina still swept them. So that's really impressive to me because of how hard it is to have that happen. When it's, when you're losing the dot, you're struggling a little bit in the circle. They were good shorthanded, but they still didn't really perform that great in the circle, and it showed. And it's a little bit shocking that they went out there and swept them when, they weren't winning faceoffs. So let's look at some numbers here. Mark Jankowski is going to lead the way in faceoff percentages with 47.4. So, there's Mark Jankowski, right? Being when everybody else is struggling, he's up there. Jordan Staal as well. He took the most faceoffs by far. He operated at 46.2%, 73.3% on the power play. So we would love to see him out there for both units winning faceoffs. Aho was 37% on faceoffs. Stankoven was 36%. Going to some shorthanded numbers because this is where we saw some guys step up. Aho is 50% shorthanded, and so is Jordan Staal. So. I guess that's good. right? They're in the 50% marks for those. But overall, I think it's going to be better next series. Whoever you face, Pittsburgh, Philly, you are going to face a Pennsylvania team. So if you can win in the face-off a little bit more, I'd like that. And I watched a little bit of that game yesterday. Those teams don't scare me. I'll talk about it in the series preview whenever we figure out what team we're playing. I'll talk about it then, but those teams just don't really scare me too much. Going to hits. 163 for Carolina, 173 for Ottawa. So this is an area that a lot of people thought Ottawa was going to blow Carolina out the water. They don't end up doing that. They only lead by 10, and Carolina laid 57 hits in the first game and dramatically kind of laid back and didn't lay as many in the rest of the series, and you're okay with that. Obviously, we know what happened to Nick Keeshan yesterday. He'll be out with a concussion. I'd imagine he'll be out for, my guess is a couple weeks, a week and a half, 2 weeks, around there. You want him to take his time. You have Mike Riley that will be getting some practice time. So overall, physically, you want to be able to continue to keep that up as the playoffs go on. It's only going to get harder, but I thought they did a pretty good job. Team save percentage, 955 for Carolina, 919 for Ottawa, the area code of Raleigh. Omar did really good. He probably had one of the best playoffs of his career, and he's going to be on the losing side of it. Anderson is doing exactly what we need. I talked about it. My 3 stars of the series were Anderson, Stankoven, and Hall, and you see why. Anderson was a big reason we won every single game. Same thing with Stankoven and Hall. So, those are some team stats that I want to take a peek at now. Kind of look at some player numbers, and then that will be it for this episode. Logan Stankoven led the team in goals with 4. Right behind him was Sebastian Aho, 2 empty nets for Sebastian Aho, and then Taylor Hall with 2. Most assists goes to Taylor Hall. K'Andre Miller is also in the conversation at second with 3. Blake at 3 assists as well. Miller definitely earned his contract. He's been playing really good in the playoffs. A point leader for the playoffs so far is Taylor Hall. Our plus-minus leader as well is Taylor Hall. Sean Walker and Miller are also there, though, so you can see that group is doing good. Gostisbehere with 0 points, so that's something to note. Obviously, when the power play is not doing good, he's most likely going to be off the score sheet. And for us, we would like to see if we can get him back into it. We'll do some hitting and blocking numbers here. Then I think we're going to get out of here. Hits, most hits in that round goes to Will.i.am Carrier. I loved his game. I thought it was really good. Everything that he went out there and did, really sharp. And it's good for him to go out there and lay the body in these type of moments when we need him to. Slavin led with 8 blocks. Walker, Miller, and Jarvis all at 7. Jarvis out there laying the body, something you love to see. Giveaways. Slavin led with giveaways. He had 10 giveaways, unfortunately. You like to see that number come down a little bit. And then you go to takeaways, and Gostisbehere, Chatfield, and Blake all with 3 at the top. Chatfield had a tough series, I thought. Him playing those top pair of minutes, playing 20 minutes a night, or however, 23 minutes a night. I mean, it's rough, right? He's gonna turn it over. He's not a generational defenseman up there, but you can't harp on him too much. He's got Slave in there, so that's the good news. Is he should be A-okay. Making a mistake every now and then, I do know it leads to a goal, but what can you do? So, yeah, that's gonna be it for the series. Gabe just reminded me we have 3 questions. Thank you, Gabe. We're going to do these questions, and then we'll get out of here. Go ahead, Gabe.
So my first question is, do you think that Stankoven in that line will keep up this progress or workload, whatever? I can't think of the word.
Production?
Production, yeah. Do you think that they'll keep up the production against a team like Pittsburgh or Philly? Because Ottawa, Pittsburgh, and Philly all play 3 different styles of hockey. So do you think that it's going to be someone else to step up, or do you think it'll be that same line, those same guys? I
wouldn't be shocked if they keep doing it, just based off the fact that it's you have to worry about two other lines. So let's say we play, we go to round 2, whoever they play, let's say it's Philly, for instance. Philly's going to have to worry about the top line of Aho, Jarvis, and Svechnikov. No, it didn't do great in the first round, but they can go off at any moment. So you're still going to have to be worried about it. So you probably put your toughest matchup on that, or your best defensive matchup there. And then, you can go your second group, or you can go your second best defensive group and put it on the Stankoven line. But one, the way that second line in Stankoven plays, to be honest, I don't know if you can defend them. I think you just have to hope they start to struggle. And then if you do put your second defensive line there, then that opens up the Stahl, Martinook, and Ehlers line when Ehlers comes back and is healthy. So really there's no way to go around it. One of those lines are going to just pop off. And for that first round, it was a Stankoven line. I don't think they're going to slow down for sure, just because they've been playing like this for like a month. So or maybe even longer than that. So I don't think they're slow down. Maybe some numbers will drop a little bit, but maybe that's because some other guys are performing.
All right, so my second question has to do with goaltending. So Freddie Andersen's been amazing in the first round. He played really well, put up some great numbers. Now, not trying to jinx him or anything, but do you think there's a chance we see Bussy here? Because historically, Andersen does start to kind of his production or his goaltending falls off in the second and third rounds. So, do you think there's a chance we see Bussy here in the second round?
Well, I thought we were going to see Bussy in the first round, and it looks like Rod is pretty set on running one goalie. Even Rod said earlier in the series that he wanted to try to get Bussy in, and he had opportunities, right, being up 3-0. So, and if I had to guess, we're going to just see Freddie until something happens. Whether that, hopefully it's not, but whether that's an injury, maybe he has a really bad game, maybe he needs a rest. But other than that, if nothing happens, we're going to see Freddie. And does his production fall off? I don't know. I mean, the way he played, obviously in that first one, played really well. Like all areas of his game were really sharp. I can't really name one critique of his. And another thing that's pretty important is puck handling for a goalie. Freddie Andersen does that miles ahead of Bussy. Bussy is not good at handling the puck at all. I think that's another reason we'll see Freddie more.
Well, I honestly couldn't think of a third one, so it's only 2.
That's fine. That'll work. All right. Thank you guys for listening. We will get in here again whenever round 2, whenever it's announced, if it's one of the Pennsylvania teams. Thank you guys very much for listening. Check it out. Social medias, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and Canes Power Play website. Thank you.